they also recognize in the meeting that by making the rule, people will generally comply, and that's actually the case. In my daughter's class, every single person is wearing a mask ever since this rule, not slash mandate, came to be. So I emailed all the principal asking them how they're monitoring oxygen levels in the classrooms, because by wearing a mask you're not getting as much oxygen, so it increases the amount of carbon dioxide in your body, and generally you want to increase the oxygen levels to compensate for that. How they're validating the toxicity levels in their masks, and a whole bunch of questions. And so I created a program to email every single principal in Ottawa. It was 134 principals. There's a lot of schools here, and it I sent them off, bang 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 bang, using my script, and they started replying in the morning, and I got about it was pretty kick-ass. I got about 4 or 5 replies, and then it stopped. So the IT department went and they deleted all my awesome emails to the principals. In parallel, though, I have sent many emails to the Governor General of Education. Sorry, the title escapes me right now, but also my trustees. Well, my trustees specifically, and so not all trustees, because I want to concentrate on my trustee, asking her, basically expressing my views, etc. And I got a generic reply that my thoughts will be considered. Trust her. My thoughts will be considered. So I said not good enough, and I haven't replied. I haven't received any reply since. They are reading my emails though, because I asked the head of this trustee organization. Again, the title escapes me right now. What the exit criteria was, what the end date was, because it was not mentioned anywhere, and they've since updated their webpage to include that information, which is basically, I think Mike mentioned before, or Gada, or somebody mentioned that they're just bouncing it back to the Ottawa Public Health recommendation that they're not doctors, so if Ottawa Public Health is recommending to do it, so they're going to wait until Ottawa Public Health, says that it's okay again to stop wearing masks inside buildings. So what I've seen, it's in London as well. They have this mask mandate that they've put in place in London, Ontario. And I saw that there were protests there, and they got a lot of signature from parents. And the parents are speaking out at the meetings, the public meetings with the council, and still they have their mask mandating. So that's not working. So I thought, why not? Since I've become friends with our good people at Stand4Thee, why not try suing them as you guys have started, with Omar, with the Minister of Transportation. I thought, why not do that with the city council that voted to put these mandates in place. So I'm happy to say that today I sent my very first ever notice of liability to my trustee, and registered mail, and I can't wait. I wish I could see the look on her face, and I can't wait to start the process in small claims court, because I don't think she's going to do what I asked her to do to remedy the situation, which was to call for an emergency motion to remove the masks.
So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell you what happens when people get these NOLs. They get the notice of liability and they go, oh, whatever. It's when they get the invoice. It's when they get the invoice that they shit their pants. So, and I say that because Matthew, another guy in our group, he served via email, and he used Banana Tag to do it does an open verification. When she got the notice of liability, she opened it like maybe 10 times, like whatever. When she got the invoice, she opened it like like 100 times because she didn't really know what to do with the NOL. But then when she got the invoice with like a date on it, then she was like, holy crap. And she was sending it to everybody. And then he had he was on LinkedIn, and people from Delta, because it was Delta Airlines, random people from Delta were looking at his profile. So once she got the invoice and she realized that it was going to progress, then she got scared. So just to let you know.
And that's is that like 30 days after she receives the notice?
Well, it's whatever you put in your, so in your notice of liability,
Oh,
whatever.
it's only
So if it was
7 days.
7 days, yeah, it could be one day, it could be 7 days, it could be 30 days. It's whatever you decide.
So that means in 7 days I can send an invoice saying you owe
Yep,
me the $10,000.
yep, yep.
Cool.
And that's when this girl hit the panic button because she was like, "Oh shit, this isn't just a letter. Like there's more to it." So just um just giving you a heads up on that.
Hey,
Yeah,
Scott.
good. Hey, Mike.
Hey, good for you. I appreciate everything you're doing there. I too, when I think I mentioned in November when our school board decided, unprovoked, the board chair, to put a motion on the floor to put masks on the junior and senior kindergarten kids. I got home from work and my wife mentioned, she's like, "You're not going to believe it, they're putting masks on the kids." I almost puked, and I went to the computer. I got all 12 trustee names. I didn't care if they're in my ward or not. And I called them all. I got five of them, had five conversations. And I try not to be too aggressive. I just said, "Can you help me understand what was presented to you? What science, what data did you look at to make that determination?" And no answer. Said, "Well, the
Mm-hmm.
chief medical officer, Paula Stewart from Leeds Gunville Lanark, and then Paul Rumiolitis from Cornwall area, they said they're good. They said there's no side effects." I said, are you they said there was no harm. I said, "Okay, what if I tell you that?" So you made a decision understanding that masks do help and they have no side effects. Is that correct? Yeah. So what if I could explain to you the opposite was true? Would you then change your decision? And one guy, the chair, he actually got mad at me. He's like, "You're trying to pin me in a corner." I said, "No, I'm just trying to understand. If you learn the opposite, would you then change your decision?" He wouldn't answer me. He got all mad and then flipped out and hung up on me, I think. But um, since after that phone call, me and another handful of actually older women who are freedom fighters in the area, I printed off a bunch of information. I printed off the letter they sent home. I highlighted it about what they're trying to accomplish, and I counted all those points. And we hand delivered to all their 12 houses just the information, so they couldn't ignore my emails. They had their name on their letter at their actual house addresses. We delivered them to them, and then I just pounded them with emails. I just put a couple links to two Rumble videos that I made. One is just me going over their Leeds Gunville Lanark Health Unit website, and I'm literally clicking on it. It's an hour long. It's boring. It's tedious. I did it in one shot, so I stutter a few times and misread a couple things. But I literally go through studies and I read them, and there's no evidence that homemade non-N95 masks do anything. So I was sending that video to my school board trustees. I was sending them. I was CCing some of my friends in these, so now there's a group watching too. It wasn't just me and them where they could ignore me. I was CCing some people in the area. Are my MP and MPP, Michael Barrett and Steve Clark. They're probably sick of my emails coming through, and I wouldn't recommend using the language that I use in my emails, but my kids, I get pretty aggressive, and I'm cut from a different class, so I'm not the most politically correct. But I was CCing them in these emails and saying, "Can you please help me understand what is it that I said wrong in these emails? Can you prove to me the science that shows that?" And they never could. And they start to eventually get emails like, "Hi, Mike, I appreciate it. You caused enough confusion." And finally, as soon as I don't know what this day was in March, when they started talking about the mask coming off, they got them off the kindergarten kids in my area right away. But I had been aggressive with my school board trustees from since November 2nd, whatever it was. But I was sending them videos, sending them information, asking them, "Hey guys, can you help me understand? I just want to know, what science do you have that shows that masks work, do anything?" And you say no negative side effects. What about all these side effects? And here's my videos that I did. So the second video I shared in the link here was my hour-long conversation with the superintendent of safety. She had no idea what she was talking about when it came to masks on children. You watch the video, she's just like, and she stutters the whole way through it. I said, "You didn't ask any questions. Like, what is your role?" Anyway, it might be too late for you because you're obviously in Psychoville, where they've gone above and beyond when the mandates are lifted and they're still pushing it. So they might be 2 feet deep committed. But I would just keep going. Sorry, I can't hear you, but you're muted. But
I'm sorry. I accidentally muted. I'm hypersensitive right now, and Scott, I accidentally
No
did. Yeah, sorry.
No, that's fine. At least you didn't boot me this time. But Mike, I appreciate all that. I appreciate your tenacity, and it's really impressive. To be honest with you, and if you like, I'll give you the names and numbers of our trustees. Feel free to give them a call and give them a piece of your mind. My emails. I think I'm going to go the legal route, because I think that's going to hurt. They're beyond convincing. People have stood up at their public meetings and spoken about it. The problem is in Ottawa that the majority of parents are on board. So how can you fight against that? Like even though they don't have science, I agree with you. It's unfounded. It's a bogus recommendation from Ottawa Public Health. They don't work, like as you say. Like I know I've researched the size of the virus versus the pore size of masks, and it's ridiculous. They can't work. It's just common sense. It's physically impossible for masks to stop viruses. They've never been used for that by any medical association.
So I would like to read
here we
something.
are.
I'd like to read something to you guys, okay? And this is thanks to one of our members. And this is case law, Ron Sorellis versus Duplessis. And liability, okay? And I'm going to put it in the chat for you guys because this is something that you guys just might want to have and know, because this is setting, this is basically stating that there are limits regarding liability and what these people are covered and what they're not covered for. So I just put this, I'll have to break it down for you because it won't fit in the chat. But basically, so this is Ron Sorellis versus Duplessis. And this is from 1959, but guys, don't be fooled by age. And here's what it says. It says, the proposition that in Canada, a member of the executive branch of government does not make the law, but merely carries it out or administers it, requires no citation of authority to support it. Similarly, this is a judge's ruling. I do not find it necessary to cite from the wealth of authority supporting the principle that a public officer is responsible for acts done